Hi guys, and welcome to this video on the new moon in Leo that happens on the 16th of August 2023. Thanks for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you today, even though I think I'm taking the whole film in the park thing a bit too far because it's actually raining today. So I'm sitting here in the rain, which is kind of interesting considering this new moon is in Leo. It's all fire, so there's a nice kind of contradiction going on. So this new moon happens on the 16th of August 2023 at 10:37 in the morning, and that's based on Central European time. So if you're in a different time zone, then please take that into account. But like I always mention, please don't get too hung up on the timings. A new moon and a full moon, it's a gradual event, right? The moon needs to either wax and get bigger until it's completely opposite the sun, or it wanes away into nothing, into complete darkness, like this new moon in Leo. And that's a gradual shift. So I think you'll start to feel this around the 15th, 16th, and 17th of August. And you know what's also interesting? This is something I don't usually talk about very much. On the 8th of August, we've got the Lion's Gate, right? That happens every year. And it's when Sirius kind of aligns with Orion and the pyramids in Giza. And it's a wonderful time for kind of manifestation and bringing through kind of the true message of who you are. So with this new moon being pitch black, pulling loads and loads of energy in Leo, is kind of similar to that. And I think one of the big questions that you're going to be asking yourself is, what do I love? How can I do something that's thrilling and exciting? It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to end up on stage somewhere and become like a performer, you know, I mean, that's not for everybody. But like, how can I do things in my own life for myself that make me feel like I'm in the spotlight, or I'm on stage, or I'm really putting myself in a position where I'm either going to sink or swim? It's all about that thrill of performance and can I versus what are my doubts. And it's a way of kind of bulldozing through your own obstacles that keep you trapped or that keep you smaller than you ought to be. Okay. So let's have a look at this new moon then. First of all, we've got the sun in Leo and the moon in Leo, and they sit together, they conjunct each other at 23 degrees in Leo, and that's why the moon goes pitch black. And with its proximity to the sun being the center of our solar system, responsible for all energy, all life, all control, all power, the moon kind of sidles up to the sun and it pulls loads of energy in to recharge itself for its next 28-day cycle. So the moon here is plugging itself into some sort of electrical outlet in order to get recharged. And with this being in Leo, it's certainly going to get a good amount of charge and a good amount of drive. Okay, so the sun is what you're striving towards on a conscious level. It's your head. The moon is what you naturally feel internally. It's your heart, right? So when these two conjunct, your head and your heart are perfectly aligned, speaking to each other, having a little bit of a conversation. And that's why a new moon is a fabulous time to kind of take a step back, to look around and to say, okay, I've got my bag full of magic beans here for the future. Which ones am I going to plant? Which ones am I going to nurture and watch them grow? Because this is me kind of designing my own future. This is me putting energy and effort into things that are important to me and that I want to expand in my life. The moon in itself is also 23 degrees. 2 and 3 in numerology is 5. Well, in maths, it's 5. In numerology, 5 is about freedom and the ability to kind of choose for yourself. So with your head and your heart both being at 23 degrees, it's really, how can I create more of this in my life? How can I feel like I don't have to stick to a bunch of rules all the time? Or how can I just live an experience that feels in the moment, that feels it feels like I'm in the now, I'm using all my personal energy and I'm not having to filter myself through some sort of perception, or I don't need to affect my behavior to fit in. It's really about the real me as I am, having a good time. Really straightforward. Astrology is based on the northern hemisphere, right? So think of Leo in the Northern Hemisphere in August. I mean, I'm filming this in August. This is a bit of a wintry day. But usually August is about sunshine and being out in public and having a barbecue and playing volleyball on the beach and going for a swim. It's life on easy street. It's when I can be in my bathing suit, totally authentic, and just run around and have a good time. So it's not asking for more complicated notions. It's not asking for you to figure everything out or to give some sort of answer as to what the meaning of this universe is. No, it's about you're alive now. That's good enough. Have fun with it. Okay, that's really all it's asking. Oh, and by the way, for everyone watching in Australia and New Zealand and South Africa and in South America, astrology may be based on the Northern Hemisphere, but it's a divination system like the tarot. So this applies whether you're in the Southern Hemisphere or Northern Hemisphere. It's all the same divination system, which applies to the energy that we're receiving now. So the new moon then in Leo saying put all of your energy into future plans that create more freedom in your life, that make you feel less tethered and like you can just run amok. And I'm not telling you to like throw your whole life up in the air, but it's really like, how do I live a lighter life? How do I live a life that's less restrictive and less complicated? We also have Venus sitting next to the new moon. Venus is the planet of love and beauty and creativity. And that's in retrograde at the moment. It's in retrograde until the 3rd of September. And I've mentioned this, but a Venus retrograde happens usually once a year. And it's not the best time to start a new relationship, because Venus is all about making a fresh start in areas that you love, in areas that you're invested in, right? So I love doing this, I want to create a business around it. Or this person seems absolutely fabulous, let's start a relationship and see how it goes. So with Venus in retrograde, first of all, your perception of what you love is going to be skewed, or things that you usually love, you may not feel so connected to. And during Venus retrograde, what often happens is that you develop affection for something unfamiliar, or for a person who's unfamiliar, something new, right? And the point of Venus in retrograde is to give you this opening to discover new things and new people in your life that you could have affection for, and not just to focus on the things that you've always done and always will do. Like at 5, I discovered that I love swimming. So at 55, I'm still swimming and I'm never ever going to try badminton. Okay. So Venus in retrograde allows you to try new things and to be open-minded. Also, it sets the stage for you to then possibly make mistakes, like with most things. If this is the first time I'm trying something new, then of course I'm not going to be an expert at it. I'm not going to understand every in and out. And I may make a mistake here and there. And that's why I always say during Venus retrograde, it's not the best time to start that new business or to get into a new serious relationship. Wait until Venus goes direct, or do get into the new relationship if that's what happens. I mean, you can't just live your life based on when Venus is in retrograde and Mercury is in retrograde. Like with Mercury in retrograde, you know, we still need to send emails even if sometimes they don't arrive or it's a little bit more challenging. So look at what new thing comes into your life, but I would suggest don't make any big decisions around that until the planet Venus goes direct, and then your usual perception of things kind of returns. This Venus is in Leo. So Venus, the planet of love, think of her as the Empress in the tarot, 3rd card in the major arcana. She's usually dressed with a print of pomegranates on her dress because she's just so abundant and prosperous. There's wheat that's grown and is ready to harvest, so there's an abundance and there's a sense of having plenty. And it's from this sense of, I've got love to give, I've got creativity to share, I've got more than enough. I'm going to start something new in a loving way, right? And when Venus is in retrograde, it's somewhat, I tend to gallop off into the wrong direction. But with this Venus in Leo, it's even more of that. It's, how can I do something which really challenges me? How can I do something that I love, but that may also be frightening, that I've never done before? And the point I'm trying to make is with Leo, everything is on fire. Everything feels passionate. Everything feels like it can be changed and it can be transformed. There's also a sense of danger associated with it. There may even be the desire to harness all this extra energy you've got into something new that you usually wouldn't do. So again, I think it's a great opportunity to experiment a little bit, to try out different things. And with your perception being altered, really try even things that you may think that you don't like. I mean, this is a silly example, but I never thought that I would enjoy skateboarding. And I learned that, when I was like 38? And I did it, and I love it. Who would have thought, right? Me not being such a fan of exercise, I'm going to end up skateboarding. So I don't know where I got that from, but suddenly it appeared in my life, and now I can do it. So similar thing, what is going to be outside of your comfort zone, but not even that? What seems impossible? What can you not do? Try that out. You might be surprised that you actually can do it. But this now, the number that Venus is at puts a different slant on things. Venus is at 18 degrees. 1 and 8 is 9, and 9 in numerology is spirituality and completion. In the tarot, it's the Hermit, right? And the Hermit tries to understand the bigger, deeper meanings. Where I said with the new moon in Leo, it's not that complicated, just have fun, play volleyball. Venus at 18 degrees in Leo says, what is my inner light? What can I do in the world that then reflects on me and evokes these feelings of joy or passion or desire or fascination or a thrill? So during this new moon in Leo, you're super energized, you're super motivated, you're brave to try new things, but pay attention, because if that inner light goes off, imagine like you've got an inner switchboard, right? And you're trying, and they're all like dark. There's a light on each one, and none of them are lit up. And during this new moon, you get the idea to climb a tree, and you get the idea to travel to Croatia, and you get the idea to start a relationship with this musician you've been eyeing, even though usually you wouldn't go out with a magician because their lifestyle doesn't match yours, right? All of those kind of things. Try those out with no strings. Just say, listen, I'm experimenting. I'm free to experiment. I can do what I like. I'm a free person, right? You are. Try those out and see which one lights up the inner switchboard, and then make a note of that and try and build it into your life more, because Venus may be retrograde and fickle, but the inner light isn't. So make use of the Venus retrograde, discover something that you love that you don't know about yet, and that thing that you love will then stay in your life consistently. Hooray! We love that. So it's time for a new hobby. Black Moon Lilith is also on the new moon in Leo. Black Moon Lilith is kind of the shadow part of the moon, and I often interpret it as the shadow self trying to get involved and kind of making things more complicated. That's at 24 degrees in Leo. And that says, yeah, you are free. You can do whatever you like. You can do cartwheels in the park if you want, but you're going to get in trouble. You're going to do something that's bad. You're going to make a mistake by experimenting, so don't. So Black Moon Lilith is trying to kind of close things down and to make you less adventurous, because, and this is me saying this, and feel free to disagree, but I feel it's because Black Moon Lilith, it doesn't want you to discover all these new things about yourself. It doesn't want you to feel freer and footloose and fancy free, because the shadow self tries to keep you in the shadows, not in the bright sunlight. And you have an opportunity here to step into the light, to have nothing but blue sky above you, and to simply have a good time with it. So it looks really amazing. Then we've got some major aspect patterns happening. So first of all, we have the new moon forming a square with Uranus and Jupiter in Taurus on the other side of the chart. So a square is friction between planets, right? Jupiter is the lucky planet of growth and expansion and things just naturally going well. At 14 degrees in Taurus, it means that anything where you engage on a physical level is gonna go really well. So the concerns of Black Moon Lilith are kind of unfounded. Because if you say, do you know what, I'm going to learn how to walk on stilts, and yes, there is the risk that you fall off a stilt and that you bruise yourself and hurt yourself, the likelihood of that happening is very slight. It's very small. So if you find yourself holding back because there's a risk involved, or you could get, and I'm not telling you to like injure yourself, please. Please don't misunderstand me. But so risk within reason, right? But if you're giving up on things just because there's a risk involved, then see that as kind of your shadow self at work and become very aware of it, because it's those things where you're like, oh, too risky. It's not going to work out anyway. I'm just wasting my time and being fanciful and impractical. If you're talking to yourself like that, there's something of value there. Look into it more in earnest, because it will serve you on the other side. Then we have, and Jupiter at 14 degrees in Taurus is also asking you to make your world bigger. So if you have one hobby, have 2 or 3. If you have one place in the world that you visited, then visit another and see what that looks like. If you've only ever been to the mountains, try the beach. Then we've got Uranus at 23 degrees, another 5. So we've got loads of 5s here in this chart. That's also in Taurus. And that Uranus is the miraculous and the unexpected, right? In Taurus, it's really fabulous. It's like anything can happen in the physical world. Any wonderful thing, any marvelous thing. And that's kind of like, you know, like having an intimate experience with someone who makes you feel like you've never felt before, or winning the lottery, or going apartment hunting and then actually finding a place that has a view which is beyond imagining, and you're like, how could this be available? It's that kind of thing. So Uranus and Jupiter sitting together, that's the other thing, they're conjunct, 14 degrees and 23 degrees, both being 5. Not only does Jupiter expand itself, it also expands the miraculous and unpredictable nature of Uranus. So really, the world is waiting to shower you with something new. I think I might buy a lottery ticket during this. Okay, then we've got the new moon forming a trine with the North Node in Aries and Chiron in Aries. So the North Node is where you're heading on a spiritual level. If I'm looking at your birth chart, if I'm reading your horoscope, right, by your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth, the North and South Node show me where you're coming from on a spiritual level and the direction you're moving into for yourself specifically. But on a general horoscope like this, the North Node is kind of the direction we're all moving into, and at 28 degrees, 2 and 8 is 10, that reduces to 1 in numerology, which is the boss, the magician, the pioneer, the person who does things independently. The new moon in itself is associated with the pioneer, because I've got all the energy, now my wheels are screeching because I'm ready to set off and go. Then the North Node is also in Aries. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, so again a number 1. And Aries is all about getting started independently and bulldozing through obstacles. So the direction is, what do you care about? What fires you up, and how can you acquire it or bring more of it into your world, into your life? Or how can you drive into that place in life and experience it for yourself? It's all about you. So there's not much permission going on. There's a lot of courage, there's a lot of fun, there's a lot of motivation. You'll meet other people along the way, but ultimately all these circumstances are going to occur based on your feeling and your direction that you're moving in. Other people will be going in the same direction, you'll meet them along the way, but it's not about chatting to them first and saying, which direction should we go in? You decide. Chiron at 19 degrees in Aries is similar, 1 and 9 is 10. 10 reduces to 1, and Aries still number 1. So this is a way to heal your practical life. If you are really fed up with life, and I don't want to sound overly negative, but I'm just going from my own personal experience. I've been in a place in my life where it's just like everything's too hard, nothing works, nothing is ever going to work out for me. This is just a process of enduring the pain and trying to get through it best you can. If you are in that kind of place, this is a chance to rediscover the pleasures in life. You know, the good things in life, sitting around a dinner table with your family or your friends, having a nice meal, seeing a glorious sunset, petting a dog. I mean, it may sound simplistic and trivial, but it's about restoring your hope in the process. If I get clear on what fires me up and I create things, I'm going to affect change. Circumstances are going to bend to me and what I want, rather than me trying to fit into the world and trying to make it work. You know, you're a human being. At some point, the world is yours, and it's about what you contribute to the world, or how you change the world to make it suit you, not the other way around. Society is going to be here, whether I'm here or you're here, or whether we're here or not. So what are we kind of creating to add to this big society? Okay, I'm gonna have to hurry up because my little piece of paper is all wet now. So, okay, aspect patterns before they smudge out. So we've got the square, we've got the trine, then we have nothing, nothing, nothing. Okay, and then we have sextiles between the new moon in Leo and Ceres at 18 degrees in Libra, the part of fortune in Libra, the south node at 28 degrees in Libra, and the ascendant in Libra. Okay, so a sextile is when two planets are 60 degrees away from each other and they kind of work together, they blend themselves harmoniously. Ceres is about a cornucopia of abundance and prosperity. In Libra, it's a bridge with a bump in it. So you're able to get over that bump and connect with people, places, things, the higher realms. And it's another 18 degrees, 1 and 8 is 9, spirituality and completion. So spiritually, you are massively fueled. And this again reminds me of that Lion's Gate. Things are aligning, your vision is right here, your energy is right here. They meet in a positive, harmonious way here in August. And it's really about going out into the world and manifesting your inner vision, or harnessing the good stuff and the miraculous stuff that's out there waiting for you. So even if you have no inner vision or drive that says, oh, I need to go and design the latest umbrella. Even if you don't have that marvelous idea, then go out into the world and see what's there. You're gonna have a good time either way, and that's why this is so positive. So Ceres at 18 degrees in Libra, you're fully charged spiritually. That's why you have all this confidence and ability to go out there. And then Libra allows you to connect with pretty much everyone and everything and any area you want. So the world is your oyster. Get creative with it, because you'll connect either to a new hobby or to new people who are going to be an important part of your future. And with the South Node at 28 degrees in Libra, you rediscover your own ability to set the tone, to make the rules, to say, this is what's happening, this is what we're going to do because I want to. And I'm certain of it. It's so funny that life takes that away from us. I mean, for some people, it never does. And for some people, they go the other way and it's all about them all the time, right? But for the rest of us little people here who are trying to find a place to live and pay our bills and to talk about something we like, you know, there's a good chunk of fitting in. And this is like, away with all of that, enough with the fitting in. Okay, what about my rules? What about my desires? Let's get back to basics. And I like that a lot. So let's see, that's all the relationships the new moon forms. In terms of the wheel on the inside, that's why I'm looking at these red lines and blue lines, right? I'm looking at any major aspect patterns. So with that, what I mean by that is T-squares and grand crosses and kites and grand trines. The first thing I'm noticing is a grand trine, 3 trines, 3 blue lines connecting to make up a big blue triangle. And it connects Uranus and Jupiter in Taurus with Mars and Mercury in Virgo, who I haven't even mentioned yet, and then Pluto in Capricorn. So a grand trine is an area of talent. This one is in Earth. So the big talent is that you're able to think about Earth. It just lies there, right? It's solid, it's heavy, it's nourishing, but it doesn't move. And your talent is to take something which seems unmovable and unshakable and set in earth, not stone. You're able to adapt that and work with it. So you're able to take some soil and put a beautiful sunflower in a pot. Okay, so the big triangle, I've talked about Uranus and Jupiter. The world has something good in store for you. Mercury is the communication planet, which is direct, so you're thinking and analyzing things very well and clearly. It's at 19 degrees in Virgo, again, hello, another 1 and 9 is 10, 1. So it's all about being a pioneer, and Mercury actually rules Virgo, so it's very happy in that place. And think of it as a researcher sitting there with his magnifying lens. Mercury in Virgo does not miss a beat. It doesn't miss anything. It knows everything. It reads every piece of fine print. It considers what the response may be to something that is said. It's really clever when it comes to information. So that really helps you to get things done. If I want to try skateboarding, then I'm going to have to find a skateboard that I can jump onto. It's as simple as that. It's really, this is what I want. These are the action steps I'm going to have to take, and I will be able to take them thanks to Mercury in Virgo. Mars is at 22 degrees in Virgo. Mars is drive. And that's driving you to find something which feels nurturing to you and something in a practical sense which makes your life richer. 22 is the master number of the builder, so this thing isn't just here today, gone tomorrow. You build something during this new moon in Leo that, like I said before, is going to be a consistent and long-term influence in your life. And then Pluto at 28 degrees in Capricorn, another 28, 1. Pluto is about the phoenix rising from the ashes, and Capricorn is the sign of the worker. So I want to rebirth myself in terms of what I'm doing on a practical level. I want to do things that are different. And also I may even want to transform my work and find a type of work that feels like a hobby. It's so enjoyable to me that I can't wait to get up every day and do it. So you see, you can even extend that. You can either rediscover your fun side and your ability to plan and to affect change and to create a cause rather than to be the effect, right? But you can even then, something like that you discover can transform into a new career. So if you're not clear on your life purpose or your working life or what you're meant to be doing, this is a fabulous time of discovery. And it's not discovery through, okay, I'm going to sit in a dark room and meditate for 12 hours and find myself. I'm playing volleyball, and during that game, I had the idea that I would make a wonderful referee at beach volleyball at an Olympic level, and that's what I'm now going to do. Ta-da! And that is a miracle. So that's the big talent. Then if there were two sextiles sitting on top of this grand trine, it would be a kite, but there aren't, so it's not. We also we do have a grand cross, but it's kind of, yeah, we do. It connects the midheaven in Leo with the south node and the rising in Libra, Pluto in Capricorn, and the north node in Aries. So we got fire, earth, and air. The only thing that's missing is water. So what you're not going to be conflicted about is your own feelings. You have a sense of certainty. This is something I want to try out, so I'm going to do it. Simple as, right? A grand cross, if I see this in your birth chart, it's four things usually that you find very, very important and that you can't make up your mind about. And then you go round and round and round, and you spin yourself out and you can't ever land on one, and you try really hard to suss out what's most important, but often you end up doing nothing because there are just too many options. And in this case, we've got the connection with the North Node in Aries. So it's my job to be a pioneer and to get going in some new direction. I want to communicate something that stems from within. I want to be in the spotlight. I want to be in some sort of position of power, so other people may be involved. I want to rediscover my ability to set the tone, so that's similar to the North Node in Aries. And I want to transform my circumstances as a result of all this. So like I said before, I don't think you need to be up on stage or giving a big speech or, being the next, being on a concert or something. I think it's about, I'm going to put myself up on stage by doing things that I enjoy, and then I will get a clear insight into who I am and how I can transform into a purpose or work that is more aligned with my true fun nature, and how can I blend the two together. So this is a fabulous new moon in Leo about realizing and manifesting your life as you want it to be and knowing yourself. I love it. So this Grand Cross isn't overly difficult because the things are kind of working nicely together. So if you put yourself in a position where you can almost observe yourself because you're doing something that's challenging or fun, you'll activate Pluto in Capricorn, and it will give you these ideas for rebirth and transformation. Okay, let's see if there's anything else here. Grand Cross. No, that's it, I think. Yeah, that doesn't... Okay. Strongest mode of the day is fixed. So you have nice solid... a nice solid a platform on which to operate and do all of these things. And the strongest element of the chart, unsurprisingly, is fire. And fire is all about being a pioneer, saying this is how I'm going to do it. I'm excited, I'm motivated, and I'm chomping at the bit. I can't wait to go. And that's it. So this has worked out really nicely because it's really raining properly now. It was just drizzling before. So that's what I get for you for this new moon in Leo. I hope it gives you an idea of what you'll be working with, and maybe even look at some information on that Lion's Gate thing, because it's very similar to that. If you would like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. When you get to the front page, scroll down a little bit until you get to the button that says book your reading. Click on that to order your reading with me. In my personal readings, I use astrology, the tarot, numerology, and my intuition. I combine all those things to answer any questions you may have. So if you're considering what your life purpose is, or what's coming up in relationships, or where you should move to, I use astrocartography for that. What's coming up in future, I use the progress chart and the transits to see what future trends are. Then please do get in touch with me for a personal reading. All I need is your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth to draw up your birth chart. If you don't have the time of birth, then order a chart rectification with me, please. That's a process where you send me 10 or more life events and I can actually work out your time of birth, which is super useful because the chart changes every 4 minutes, and having it as accurately as possible is important. So if you're interested in that, then please do get in touch with me for a personal reading. I hope you have a fabulous time here during this new moon in Leo. Check out some of my other videos. I make a weekly horoscope. I also do a daily tarot reading, which is for members of this channel. So please consider becoming a member. That's a great way to support me, and you get access to the daily tarot reading. And some of my other videos, like I'm trying to move at the moment, so there'll be vlogs coming up and things like that. Have a wonderful new moon. I wish you all the best. I wish you this massive amount of energy which compels you into something fabulous. I'm so excited for you and for myself. Let's hope we have a great time during this new moon. All the best, and I'll speak to you soon. All the best. Take care.